Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm Helena, also known as the Crazy Gardener, because I like to experiment and try some crazy things in the garden. This video is about cold hardy plants, things that you can maybe grow before everything else. So this is, you're not putting out your tomatoes yet, or your cucumbers or your peppers. Those are not going out in the garden just yet. However, I do want to try putting out some cold hardy plants. The soil is soft enough to be worked, so I can put out some things. However, we are still getting freezes down to like minus 14 to 16 sometimes, so I'm not sure exactly how well this is going to work out. But with doing some research, I think after next week or after 2 weeks from now, so this would bring us to like end of March, early April, all of the really, really cold freezes should be over with, and then our freezes would only be like in the minus like 2 to 7, maybe the odd night minus 10 range. I have ordered some frost fabric, so we will be working with that as well. I did get some products that are supposed to help with the cold hardiness or keeping the frost off of your plants, so that's really cool. The thing is that some plants won't sprout when the soil is not warm enough yet. So I'm going to try a few different things. I'm going to try starting some seeds from like indoors. Once they're little seedlings and they're ready to be transplanted out, I'll do that. So that's probably in, I would say, like 2 to 3 week range. Put them outside at that time, then they're already started, and then as little seedlings they shouldn't, the frost or light frost shouldn't really hurt them too much, so we'll try that. We're also going to try to just direct sow a few of them, and we'll try our luck with both methods. I've got the space now, so I'm going to just give it a go. I'm going to just do like 5 seeds. I'm just gonna do like 5 seeds at a time. I'm not gonna try and go like too crazy. I don't want to like spend all of the seeds and then nothing work out like in one part of this experiment. So I do want to kind of spread it out a little bit. I want to see what works in this zone. This is my first year gardening here in this particular garden, and I have grown things in Alberta before. I used to do carrots. I used to sow carrots 3 times a year. I would do a few succession sows in the fall and then let them stay in the garden over winter and then harvest them in the spring. And then I would do another one early spring, like as soon as I could move the soil around, like right now. And I would plant the carrots in there then, and then I would get a harvest like, gosh, this is mid-March, so what, like June? And then I could also do another one over the summer. Those ones weren't the best carrots. I did love the spring harvests, like the spring carrots and the fall harvest. Those were the best, especially if you can have them in the garden and leave them in the garden over one frost, at least a really good frost, and then you pull them. They turn the starches into sugar, and then they just become such good, sweet, delicious carrots. They're like the best carrots you've ever had in your life, I promise you. So to go over, because I'm running out of space because I planted way too many tomatoes, but I am putting a couple of them in just those cups that I've been doing. I can show you later on in the video about those cups, but these are the ones that I'm going to be doing in the cups. I'm going to plant a few indoors first, and then I'll plant the exact same seeds outside. I've got notes on everything, so I know what what is what. So I'm starting these ones. It is now mid-March. What day is today? Like the 17th or something? I don't know. I don't know what day it is. Who needs dates? So the leeks, I'm going to try those. I've never grown leeks before, so I've done a lot of research on growing them. They should be easy. They seem easy enough. So I'm going to grow some of those guys. I love making soup, like a good vegetable broth with those, so I'm definitely going to grow those. romaine lettuce. I never knew romaine lettuce was a cold hardy plant, but guess what, it is. So we're gonna try that. We're gonna see what works for these guys. This is the Paris Island Cos. Just gonna hold it up for a sec. Try to hold it still. So we've got that one. I'm gonna plant like maybe about 3 to 5 seeds indoors, and then later on in the season, like in about 2 or 3 weeks after this really cold spell is over, then I'll plant them directly in the garden as well, and we're going to see what works best. Iceberg lettuce for our salads, and then I've got a couple of beets. There's this one. I've shown that one earlier as well. And then the green top bunching beet. I'm going to do that one. And then peas. I've got the Sugar Daddy peas. So I'm going to do that one as well. I'm going to sow a couple indoors and then transplant them outdoors. And then later on I'm going to plant them in the ground. I'll probably succession sow peas and very likely beets. I'm not sure how much of the lettuce we'll be using, but either way, I don't want to do that with carrots because they have that really long taproot, and you could very easily break that taproot if you're transplanting. They're easy enough to just throw in the ground, so it will be fine. These are the other varieties. I'm just going to pick all of these guys up. There's quite a lot. Okay, so I like seeds, by the way. These are all of the other varieties that I've got. I'm trying a bunch of different varieties this year. I want to see which ones we like best, which ones work best in our climate, in our zone, and that sort of stuff. And then I'll kind of taper down once I know what exactly we want. But these are all the ones that I'll be planting in towards the end of March, early April. So the first little bunch, those are the ones that I'm going to be doing the experiments with. So I've got a little bit of each one. There will be radishes in there. I just haven't bought radish seeds yet. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, no radish seeds. What the heck, man? Anyway, so those are the ones that I'll be doing the experiments with. However, I'll be planting a lot more. So by mid-April, the first 3 garden beds will be full of food. So I've got another lettuce here. It's Marville Four Seasons. This one's supposed to be good for a colder climate. And it's like a red lettuce, like purpley red. So that'll be an interesting one, I think. That'll be a really good one. And then I've got the Drunken Woman. I have listed that one on a list before, so I'm definitely excited to see what those ones are like. I'll be throwing in some dill because really, what's a garden without dill? Every garden needs some dill, so I'm going to be throwing some of that in. I'm probably going to just scatter these seeds, not just in the beds, but also in between the beds or in behind, or I'll find like a little corner that's like in ground, because you don't really need to do a lot crouching for those. So really it can just grow wild there, and I'll keep it like in a little corner so that when I do all my pickling, when I do my summer salads, we can throw in some fresh dill, or like the dip for the chips. Oh my gosh, I forgot about the dip. Dill dip with chip. Oh, dill. Another one that I have not ever grown before, but I do love to eat it. So it's the broccoli. So I've got a purple. That's a sprouting early purple variety. So this one grows differently than your heads of broccoli. This one grows like just in little clumps, and you can literally harvest just like a handful at a time and let the plant continue to grow until it bolts. So I am eager and anxious to try that one. And then there's another sprouting one. It's a green one. So I'm curious to see the difference between the two different colors. If there is any flavor difference, it'll be interesting to see that. The carrots that I'm growing this year, I'll be sowing them in the next couple of weeks, as soon as I possibly can. Will be the, I'm not sure how to say this, the early Nantes, the early Nantes 5, this one here. That one will be one of them. And then, because that's an early yield, so it won't take very long for that. And then the Rainbow Blend is another one. I do love just variety of color in my salads, and so this one will really help with that. It's got the purple, the orange, there's yellow, there's white. Looks like maybe a few green ones. That'll be interesting. And then the beets, I've got a Detroit dark red beet. I know Ryan doesn't really like beets, but I do, so maybe he'll try one or two and he might actually find one that he likes. And there's the gold again, so I'm going to be trying stuff with that one, but there's another pack here, so I had to add it to this one too. Then I've got the Bull's Blood beet, and then I've got another Shelling Pea, a Bolero. So we're going to have quite a lot of stuff coming out of the garden really early, while everybody else who's calling me crazy for wanting to plant the garden like in April, early April, while they're planting their gardens, I'm going to be harvesting already. Hopefully. That's the plan. That's the plan. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, first year. We'll see. Another one that I have not grown yet, but I'm eager to try this year, is Brussels sprouts. Now, I know that they are cold hardy. However, I haven't done a lot of research on this, so if you know anything about growing Brussels sprouts, let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your advice is for this, because it does say on the packet, on the back side of the packet, it says to start them indoors late May or early June. But then you're transplanting in mid-August, and then you're harvesting after the first frost. Not 100% sure, but I'll do some more research on this. But I'm definitely really eager to try some Brussels sprouts and grow some of my own Brussels sprouts, because those of you who don't like Brussels sprouts, try them roasted with some bacon grease and a little bit of salt or butter. Put them like in a fry pan with some butter, like blanch them and then fry them in a fry pan with some butter or bacon grease, some garlic. Oh, they're so good. These are so good. So cannot wait to try these. So that's kind of the plan right now. I've been drawing out, I'm just going to pull this up here for a second. I've been drawing out the very basic sketch. That's a very basic sketch of the three, I'm calling them the 3 garden beds, and what I'm going to be planting where. So the really long one, you can see that. So the really long one, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be planting carrots and lettuce right along the back. But as we're harvesting the carrots and the lettuce, if it's around the time that the tomato plants need to go out, I'll be putting those, because that's exactly where I want to put the tomato plants later on in the season. However, if we put carrots and lettuce there and we start harvesting early carrots and early lettuce, we can make little pockets of space ready so that when the tomato plants are ready to come out and it's a good weekend or a good time to plant them out, we can have those little pockets of space ready. I can add some compost, I can add some mulch, I can add some whatever I would need to do to amend the soil at that time. I can add that to it, mix it up or whatever, and then I can put the tomato plants in there and they can start growing while the carrots and the lettuce, keep forgetting what I'm planting there. One look, I've got it written down. While they're still growing in between the plants. And then as the tomato plants grow up, we can pull out more of the lettuce and the carrots, giving the tomato plants more space. So that's kind of succession growing in a nutshell. That's how I like to do my gardens. That's how I've learned to do them over the last couple of years, especially gardening on a patio. And so on the patio, that's exactly what I would do. I would have lettuce growing. What I would actually do is it was on the island in Victoria, and I would have my garlic growing in a pot, in a fairly large pot. I would have the garlic growing, but then I would plant lettuce, and then as the garlic is needing a little bit more space and as it starts to mature, I'll start harvesting the lettuce, but the garlic is still in there and it's still growing and it's still going to produce. So one pot would give me like 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4 harvests in one season, in one growing season, because I would pair, you know, the fast growing stuff with the slower growing stuff, you know. I did an experiment, didn't go very well, but I want to do it again because I know some people have success with it. I want to get a pot and then plant like different bulbs at the different depths so that you have like a succession of blooms throughout the spring in the same pot without having to dig up and replant bulbs, right? How fun would that be? You can just put it out there, water it when it needs to be watered, and leave it. And then, like, they just keep blooming and they keep coming up. That would be so cool. But so that's kind of the plan for this spring. And then coming into the later spring, early summer, filling those pockets up with that sort of stuff. The middle bed is going to have onions, flowers, peas, and herbs. But then later on, I'm going to be putting in some zucchini. What else am I going to put in there? Cucumbers are going to go in there. And then some other things. I don't have that written down. I haven't gotten that far in the planning yet. But as I'm pulling out the peas, I'll be planting something else in there. As I'm pulling out something else, I'll amend the soil and then I'll add something else in there. So we will have a succession and a continual amount of food coming out of the garden, and we'll have constant salads. We'll have continuous food for ourselves, for nourishment and stuff. So we really should not be buying any veggies or fruit. Well, maybe we'll buy some fruit, but we should not be needing to buy any veggies for the summer, unless it's like early summer, because I don't have any onions in the pantry, so I might need to buy onions. But hopefully this will go to plan, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. It might be a complete bust. Who knows? Who knows? But for now, thank you guys for watching. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, if you want to start a discussion, leave a comment down below, and we'll have a talk about this sort of stuff, or about how you might be able to put this sort of a succession planting in your garden planning this year. So can't wait to hear from you. Hey everyone, it's me again. I was just editing the last video, and I realized I hadn't really talked about what experiments I'm doing. So one of them is how early is too early to plant, is kind of what I'm doing. It's with the first 5 packets of seeds that I showed. I'm starting them early here indoors, and then I'll be putting them out in the next couple of days. And then I'm also starting seeds right around the same time, so it'll be right around like end of this week or early next week. So starting seeds and putting out starts, and trying to see what works best. And if it's too early, a lot of people are saying that it is too early. I'm not sure. I haven't refamiliarized myself with this climate yet. However, some people are saying that it is doable with certain cautions in mind, I guess. By that I mean, if you've got something to put over top of them, should the freezes at night suddenly be a lot lower than you're expecting, or you could put like a clear tote over top of it, like invert it and put it over top of it, essentially creating a mini greenhouse. Or frost fabric or plastic, or some people would use just like a glass window to make like a cold frame of sorts. So I'm going to try a couple of different things, and with those first 5 is sort of the core what I'm working on. The rest of them will just be sown out probably in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm just going to plant the rest of them all out according to what a lot of the gardeners around here are doing. So that's one of the experiments that I'm doing this year. Another one will be potatoes. It's one of the easiest crops to grow, especially as a home gardener. What are the different ways that you can grow potatoes, and how will it affect the yield? So one of them will be like in pots. Another one will be in the ground, and I will plant, I think, 1 or 2 potatoes, seed potatoes, just in a raised garden bed to see how easy that is. Once I've established no dig, I will be doing that as well. That won't be this year though, that'll be in a future year. So that's another one also that I'll be doing. And then I'm gonna try a couple of different ways. That's why I've saved so many tomatoes plants for myself, just in case something goes wrong and I lose a few of them. Um, a lot of people, you know how it's like the typical hardening off stage. You have to like let them out, sit them outside for like an hour, and then bring them back in, and then the next day sit them outside. And it over the course of like 2-3 weeks, you're like constantly in and out with the plants. Well, I don't have that kind of time. I don't know about you, but I really do not have that kind of time. So my plan is to find a way to bring the tomato plants and the pepper plants outside and um, protect them from the wind and protect them from possible frost. Now, this is going to be like end of April, like after our last frost date. I'm not putting tomato plants out before the last frost date. That would be just crazy. But I am, when it comes time to harden them off, I will be doing something where I can just like take them outside in the morning in a sheltered sort of area where they won't get the fluctuations. I think maybe they won't get the wind, they won't get like some of the harshness, and then slowly move them out of that area. So in between, I'm thinking in between the two raised garden beds, there's a really nice low area, not a whole lot of sun will hit them, so they'll still get a little bit of sun, but they're not going to get like that harsh wind that we sometimes get here. And so maybe that will make it easier for them to move from the indoors to the outdoors. Another one would be just to plant them out and then just do the inverted clear container, do like the greenhouse effect sort of thing. However, that I don't think is going to work that well, only because I only have two of those containers, and and they're not really big. They're just like, I don't know, 3 feet ish, 2 feet maybe. But I can do that with a few of them. I won't be able to do that with all of them. I do have the frost fabric that's coming later this week, so I could do that. I do have some other options. I could just put plastic over them for a little while and then until they get acclimated, and then take the plastic off. I could do that. So there's a lot of different options, so we're going to just kind of try and see what works or what might work best, and then that's the method I could probably use, or at least use as a primary um moving forward. But yeah, this being a new garden for me, a new backyard, a new place to grow things, it's this year is all about trial and error. So I'll be doing experiments all summer long, all different kinds. If you've got any that you want to suggest, anything that you'd like to see, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, hit the like, hit the subscribe. You're very welcome to be a subscriber of mine at no cost to you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Ciao.